home front and even at workplace. I know you're wondering where I'm driving at, and I know most women out there will share in this view, which brings us to the issue on the platform today: generation equality, realizing women's rights, which was a theme for the International Women's Day that was recently celebrated. Now, you agree with me that this is one issue that has lingered on for decades and has drawn different perspectives from around the world. You ask, is equality really women's issue? Well, the campaign has been on, and people are of the opinion that gender equality is essential for economies and communities to thrive, with the slogan, each for equal. Simply put, women are calling for economic justice, reproductive health rights, technology and innovation for gender equality, and even much more. Well, as women, we must all be part of that movement. And on platform today, our focus will be generation equality, realizing women's rights. And we have no other person than the woman leading the ship for women affairs in Nigeria, Pauline Tallen, Minister of Women Affairs. Thank you very much for joining us, Minister.
Thank you, Ruth.
All right, let's take you through a bit of her profile. Dame Pauline Tallen hails from Shedam local government area of Plateau State. She studied at the University of Jos, where she bagged a Bachelor of Science in Sociology in 1982, and later headed to Harvard University, USA, for a program in strategic public sector negotiations. Dame Pauline has enjoyed a fulfilled life, you would say, and career, with a barrage of sterling achievements and various balances of her interests. From 1994 to 1996, she served as Commissioner in the Ministry of Social Development, Youth, Sports and Culture, and Commissioner in the Ministry of Health, all in her state, that is Plateau. In 1996, she was a member of the Plateau State Executive Council. Dame Pauline served as Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Science and Technology from 1999 to 2003. She was awarded national honors of the Office of the Order of the Federal Republic in recognition of her invaluable contributions to national development, with other numerous awards to her credit. And from 2007 to 2011, Dame Pauline served as Deputy Governor in Plateau State, after which she became the National Advisor of the National Campaign Women Council of APC under the chairperson of Mrs. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, as well as member Board of Trustees of the All Progressives Congress. And in August 2019, the big one came. She was appointed Minister of Women Affairs by President Muhammadu Buhari. We're so pleased to have you here.
Thank you very much, Ruth, and happy International Women's Day.
Yes, we'll continue to say it. Even though the day has passed, we'll keep saying it.
The whole of month of March is to celebrate women.
Great. And I have some beautiful women in the studio today that will be our panelists on the programs. And let's make welcome Justina Auta. She's a principal correspondent with NAN. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And one of our own Women Affairs correspondent here in NTA, Momso Damian Deti. We're pleased to have you, Momso.
I'm glad to be on set with you, Ruth.
Okay, so, Honorable Minister, it's, like you said, the month of March, and not only the month of March. You know, every day we must look at women's issues. Now, 25 years down the line after the Beijing Declaration, and that is a platform for action and a progressive roadmap for gender equality, which is the goal, SDG Goal 5, that is ending discrimination against women and girls. For us as a nation, how have we been able to bridge the gap if we're talking gender parity for women in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. So far, so good. Although it's not yet Uhuru.
Yeah.
But I can say that Nigerian women has fared and done extremely well in our various individual fields. In every field. Engineering, in the sciences, in the arts, in the military, name it. Women have made their mark in the judiciary, in the civil service. Nigerian women have strived so well. What we need to do now is to harness and work together, love one another, support one another. The strength of an individual woman is very good, strong. But the strength of women coming together is greater than what you can imagine. And if we are able to achieve that, which by the grace of God, we will. We are working towards that.
Okay.
Gone are the days when women will be fighting one another. It's no longer the same. We are crossing that path. And I don't want us to hamper more. No, women are enemies of themselves. We have passed that stage. We are working together. We are trying as much as, because we have realized that that is a serious setback to us. So we are working towards encouraging women to love one another, to support one another, to celebrate one another. And that's what I'm doing for the whole of the month of March. I've laid out my agenda to celebrate women that have excelled, to acknowledge the good and the wonderful things they've done in their various fields. Like you might be surprised. Women are making waves in all fields. This evening you will watch it on TV. We have a Nigerian woman who is the president of all female doctors in the world. She won that election late last year, and I wrote Mr. President, and the President granted such audience this afternoon. Not in Africa. That organization is 100 years old, and she happens to be the first Nigerian woman, Dr. Elino Wabodonobi. She is the president of female doctors in the world globally. We also have the head of service, who is a woman. We're celebrating her. We have the Minister of Finance, who is enjoying her second tenure. Last year she was there. Because of her outstanding performance, the President brought her back again. We have 7 women in the Federal Executive Council, although we are saying thank you, Mr. President, but we are asking for more. Because looking at the population of women, we deserve more. We'll continue to say thank you, but we'll continue to ask for more.
You know, Honorable Minister, from what you're saying, yes, we can do it. We can actually challenge these stereotypes, fight biases, and also, you know, broaden perceptions in terms of appreciating what women can bring on the table. But let's allow our panelists comment.
Okay. Ma, you have spent close to a year in office. What positive change will you say you have enabled for women development in your ministry?
Thank you very much. We have done so much in the area of advocating for the girl child.
Okay.
Because the education of the girl child is a right of every child and every Nigerian child. Education is key. We have intensified our advocacy. We are reaching out to all partners and civil society organizations, and we are getting support. We visited schools. We've supported the girl child with sanitary pads, things that keep the girl away from school. Are you aware that most female students, during their menstrual period, they have to stay away from school because they cannot really take good care of themselves? So we are working on that, and we are reaching out and giving out. You can see, I visited some schools even last week. We are also reaching out to traditional rulers, civil society organizations, community leaders, to intensify the advocacy that every child must be in school. And the girl child, she should not just be in school, but retain in school at least from the age of 6 to 18. If we are able to achieve that, then we must have been able to address the problem of early marriage. Once the girl child is fully educated, most of the problems affecting the woman will be addressed. Because with an educated woman can fend for her children, will ensure that all her children go to school. She will ensure that her children get the best meal. The health of the family will be improved. The economic status of the family will be improved. Educating the girl child has so many multiplier effects. And she is just not for herself, but for the family. You can imagine a mother of 6 or 7 or 10. We have a mother of 12.
Even 15?
Even 15. We've seen 15. One woman giving birth to 15 children. So if she's fully educated, you can imagine the multiplier effect. All those children will be properly educated. With her education and with a good job, she supports the family. And I bet you know very well that no husband will tolerate a woman that sits down without contributing anything to the family. So,
Okay, Mom, so...
Okay, let me follow up on Atina's question. How sustainable is this project of providing sanitary towels for school children? And then I know you can't do it alone. Then you need clean toilets too, to be able to go in and change, but eventually, you know, for the girl child.
Very well.
So what measures are you putting in place to sustain this project?
I'm sure if you've been following issues, my ministry is not a standalone ministry. I have made it very clear to all my colleagues. For the problem of issue of clean toilets, I've reached out to the Minister of Water Resources. The IDP camps, all the IDP camps I visited, I ran back to him to ensure that clean toilets are provided, not just in the IDP camps, but in our schools, so that the girl child will be able to maintain herself during her menstrual period. On health issues, we are working hand in hand with the Minister of Health. We organized this free screening of breast and cervical cancer last year. You know, the month of October, just like the month of March, is a month set aside to intensify advocacy on the ravage of cancer that affects women, not just the breast cancer, cervical cancer, and all forms of cancer.
Okay, go ahead. I thought you were done.
That, again, we are working with the Ministry of Education on the girl child education. The education of all our children, not just the girl child, is very key. And we are working in partnership with the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Environment, in a nutshell, I'm in every ministry. And we're working out with and reaching out to every ministry because we have desk officers in every ministry. And I'm using the desk officers to ensure that what is meant for the Nigerian woman is properly used so that we can reach out, empowering of the women, the girl, women and the vulnerable group. The Ministry of Trade and Investment, I give them kudos. They are doing a lot in supporting us through the SME, and the Bank of Industry is doing a lot to support in the empowering of women.
Okay, there's this perception that women's reproductive rights, especially women in the rural communities, are being shortchanged because we see most women, it is estimated that most women in Nigeria suffer highest rate of maternal mortality. And if we have to take this campaign of, okay, know your reproductive rights to these rural communities, in terms of advocacy, you know, what have you been able to do in that regard? I'm talking about now looking at this rural, the heads of these rural communities, like traditional rulers, because most of them will listen to their traditional heads there. How much advocacy has been carried out there? Because a lot of women die every day from childbirth and from what you're saying.
Thank you very much. It's not just the Ministry of Women Affairs that will handle it. The Ministry, you're right, there has to be a strong synergy between us and the Ministry of Health, which we are doing. And not just the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Women Affairs. The Office of the First Lady, Dr. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, is doing a lot in that area to intensify advocacy with the wives of governors. All our wives of governors are also playing their part, and I commend them for that good work. The same with our traditional rulers. In fact, I've gone a step further to involve wives of traditional rulers. So in all my advocacies, any state I reach out to, I involve wives of traditional rulers in our town hall meetings to intensify their vital role in educating the rural community. And we are making progress in that. In fact, this week, on Thursday, I'm receiving the wife of the traditional ruler in the FCT. We have to get them fully involved in advocacy and to make sure that they reach out to the rural communities to educate them on the maternal mortality that is ravaging the lives of so many women and children.
Okay, you've been doing a lot of advocacies, but what feedback mechanism do you have in place to get feedback from these rural areas? Do you have any monitoring team to ensure that whatever you're advocating for is actually,
We do have.
Okay, yes.
We have ministries of women affairs in every state.
Yes.
And we have the social welfare department. Okay. The Ministry of Women Affairs and the Office of the First Ladies in the various states are tasked to ensure that they do the follow-up and to monitor and give us the feedback. So that's our feedback mechanism. The State's Ministry of Women Affairs and the local government chairman. We've involved wives of local government chairmen and traditional rulers because they are the ones that live with the majority, the mass number of rural communities we have.
Okay. One of the things that will actually help in curbing maternal mortality rate is use of contraceptive, family planning. What measures is your ministry doing towards encouraging women, especially those in the rural areas, to take such measures? Because when we look at it, we realize that some of the challenges that has caused maternal mortality is the issue of inadequate child spacing amongst women, especially in the rural areas. So what are you doing towards encouraging women to adopt such measures?
Thank you very much. Again, we're working through the Ministries of Women Affairs and the local government chairmen and wives of traditional rulers. We are intensifying advocacy and we reach out to ensure that that is done. I also want to commend UNFPA and other international partners. UNFPA are doing very, very well in this area, and we are getting a lot of feedbacks, and we are closely monitoring. Mercy and Co are doing very well in the area of girl-child education. UN Women, you see, all our international partners, we are working together to ensure that we maximize and change the narratives.
And if we look at the women today who are, really dominating the entrepreneurial space, and we must give it to our women who are actually doing so much too. And from what you have said, that you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Yeah. But long-term sustainability of some of these plans, it's critical. Now, for some of these women in the rural communities who have been empowered, do you have any strategic measures put in place as a means of follow-up to ensure that their sustainability is ensued?
Yeah. Well, I've earlier mentioned that we have different organizations that are supporting the civil society organizations, international partners, NDE. The Director General, Dr. Nasser, we are working closely with him and he's supporting the ministry a lot in empowering women, training, and then we give out the training kits and some stipends for them to start off this business. We also have state liaison officers and coordinators in every state of the NDE that monitors them with our Ministry of Women Affairs, the commissioners, and our staff in the Ministry of Women Affairs. That is the monitoring mechanism. We work together with them to reach the grassroots, right to the local government levels and the ward level.
Because they mostly bear the brunt in all of this. But the support from their husbands is also very essential. A lot of these women, I have come encounter with some of them who they want to do more. They want to try and provide for their family. But they're not getting the necessary support from the men. And you see the burden will now be on the woman alone. And then she's wearing out. In terms of support from the men, what would you advise?
Thank you very much. This is an area that touches me very well, and that's what I'm really emphasizing on. That is the campaign for He for She. The He for She campaign is to get more men involved. More men appreciate the role of women in nation building. Wherever I go, I appeal to the men. I appeal to their conscience that the women are not fighting for equality, for us to supersede them. No. We are simply asking for space in nation building. From creation is divine. God would have made the world
without women.
But how can you imagine a world without women?
To be boring.
Blank. Blank, boring. Just as when Adam was created, he could not smile, he could not do anything, he couldn't function. God had to send him into a deep sleep and remove the rib on his side. A woman brings spice. She adds life. She brings hope. She changes, she ignites hope in the home, in the society, wherever. Ask any man if he's sincere to himself. When his wife travels and he's left alone in the home with the children.
It's never the same.
But you see, we simply want to appeal to their conscience to appreciate that divine role God has created a woman to play. The man cannot do it alone. Neither can the woman do it alone. We need to work together to make the world a better place. We are demanding for equality, we are demanding for justice. And where if there is justice, there will be peace. The ingredients for peace is fairness and justice. We are asking for fairness, we are asking for justice, we are asking for equality. And that brings us to the theme of this year.
Okay, talking about the theme, Honorable Minister, you know, some men are beginning to get skeptical about this equality. They think we're trying to fight for their positions at home. So what does this generation equality actually mean? What does it imply?
Generation equality simply means that the boys, the men, women and men should have equal opportunities.
Okay, in what
Take,
sense?
for example,
Yeah.
the girl child, the children. Okay, take, for example, in every family, all the children must go to school.
Yes.
You don't deprive the girl child to stay at home to clean the house or wash the clothes or go to the stream to fetch water while the boys go to school. No. Okay. Equality in the sense that the boys have equal opportunities to be in school as the girls. The same at working place, there must be equal opportunity at the workplace. We want equal opportunity at all levels because there is nothing that the man can do today in any field that the woman cannot do.
Okay.
You've seen female pilots. Just last year, we celebrated 3 female helicopter pilots.
Yes.
And as in the military, the female in the ministry, they stand out. The women in the judiciary, they stand out. The women engineers, they stand out. Name any field. Women have paid their dues and they are making waves. But we can only attain meaningful national development if they are given equal opportunity. That's why we have this sign for this year. Equal opportunity. Allow the men and the women to play their rightful roles in their various fields. Allow the male and female children to all be in school at the same time. Allow those at work in the working place to enjoy all the privileges that is meant for them. Yeah. That is what we mean by gender equality. We are not fighting any war with the men. We are not. The men are unique in their own right. They are the heads of the family. They are our husbands. We respect them as the head of the family. But they know the special role a woman plays in the home. The woman manages the children. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world.
Yes.
Every head of state today, every governor, every male minister was won by a woman. If women are not important, they won't nurture them to that level. So if more space is given to women and the opportunity given to women, we will attain better development in all fields. National development can only be realized if we have gender equality.
Okay, talking about gender equality, Ma, the UN Women recently said that it would take over 200 years for us to be able to achieve that. Do you confirm to that? Do you think it's going to take that long? 200 years is a long time.
I don't pray for that. Neither do I think. The way we are going, we will achieve it before that 200 years.
Is it that
I strongly
women,
believe.
are there certain things women are not doing right? Or because I have seen women who always stand up for their rights.
Yes.
Now, is it because it shows that statistics shows that Western Europe has the highest gender parity, 76.7%. So in other parts of the world, especially in Africa, culture has been a barrier, and other circumstances that women face here. What are we not doing right? Because even if we look at politics, the difference is really clear. So what are we not doing right?
We are not doing right is lack of working together. We've realized it. Knowing the problem is half solved. So now that we've realized the problem, we're working towards addressing it. And I want to tell you, we're working towards addressing it early enough before the next election.
Okay. Men are already strategizing ahead of 2023 election.
We are also strategizing.
Okay, you're ready.
We are.
So we are hoping to see candidates. If
the ministry, the UN Women,
yes,
all the international partners, our national president, Barrister Ebere Ifendu, we are working and strategizing towards 2023. And God being on our side, you will see the difference from what we are seeing. What we are seeing today in the National Assembly, in the State Assembly, and at local government level is heartbreaking. It's less than 4%.
Yes.
And it's not acceptable. We call ourselves the giant of Africa.
yes,
And with nothing much to show. Our problem has been lack of working together. We've realized our mistakes, and I'm calling on women with a very loud voice. The power of one woman is good and great, but the power of working together, team spirit, we have numerical strength. All we need to do is to love one another and work together. I'm already seeing it. I can't tell you the number of support, the number of calls I receive from women, retired female officers, retired in different fields that have offered to give me support to ensure that we achieve economic empowerment and the problem of the poor participation of women in politics.
But this, still on this women...
Before, we don't used to have that. Before, you don't see a woman supporting one another, encouraging, but things are changing.
Yes.
I'm getting so much support from women.
But yes,
and
you
I want
agree.
to use
I
this
agree
platform to thank Nigerian women, to give them a thumb up.
But Honorable Minister, yes, I know things are changing, but there are still women out there, sometimes because of financial capacity,
yes.
they don't have it.
Definitely,
you understand? The men still outshine them.
Sure.
Taking the last elections, for instance, there was a scenario where Nigerian women politicians were gathered at the Women's Center here from all over the country.
Sure.
And shortly after that, their hopes were dashed. I followed them up.
I organized that program with the Office of the First Lady.
Okay, did you get the feedback after the event?
We got the feedback. We had more women ever before coming out.
Yes, they did.
To contest. It has never, even the whole of Africa, we've never had that number.
Yes, it's true.
But we had the problem. The problem was at the party level.
Exactly.
Okay.
Women were for change and played out.
So how do you intend to
of course, when you identify the problem, it is half solved.
Okay.
We know the problem. We set up a committee, and they submitted the report late last year. Early this year. The report was submitted because the committee was put in place in the month of June, and they worked and submitted. But we have a blueprint. We already identified the problems. We are working towards addressing it.
Okay, and I know part of the strategy for the men.
I am very positive and hopeful, and I can see light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, indeed.
We must be positive.
Part of the strategy for the men in terms of this politics, if they want to drive home their point and let people support them, they have this team spirit, which women are beginning to recognize.
Yes.
And there's this godfatherism.
Yes.
Can women start having godmotherism?
Sure. We are beginning to identify.
Okay.
We are identifying mothers.
Okay.
Who have the capacity
to support But we are saying that people should start their strategizing, reaching out to their communities early enough.
Yeah.
You must plan, just as you said, the men have started strategizing. You don't wake up just overnight and say, because they've started selling forms, you go and pick form and you want to contest within 1 or 2 months. No. It's an investment. It's like a building. You start from the foundation. And that's why we are beginning to educate and prepare those who are interested in contesting.
They should start from the grassroots.
They must start from the grassroots. Every politics is local. You cannot just start from the top. You can't just remain in Abuja and you want to contest election for House of Assembly or chairmanship and you remain in Abuja and think that your people will vote you in. No, you must go back home, identify with the needs of the people. And this is something you must start long over time. Win the conscience of your people. By the time you win the conscience of your people and you present yourself, half the problem is solved. Yes, we need money, but money is not everything.
Yes.
When you win the confidence of your people and they believe in you and trust in you, in fact, they will support your campaign. They will gather money in that community and support you. The youths there will be the vanguards that will support and protect your votes on the day of voting. So, doing your homework at the grassroots is very important. Identifying the needs of your people and making efforts to address those needs. Assuming there is no water in your community or there is no road, reach out to various agencies that can provide those amenities to them. If you reach out to them and make that effort and your community leaders know, they will say, this woman is a good leader. In her private life, she's struggling to make sure that this road is made or ensure that we have boreholes in our community. If she's given the opportunity, she can then do better. So you must do something in your own little way to win the hearts of your people, win their confidence, and convince them that you can be trusted. If you do that, it's not just to wake up overnight. This thing is something that you have to start.
It's a gradual
process. When you win the confidence of your community and they trust you and they hope in you, the men, the elders, the youths, the women, they will be the driving force of that campaign. And we've been talking and mentoring our young politicians. And I believe they are beginning to realize it. We will make some progress, God willing,
Amen.
come 2023.
Amen. And actually, there have been instances where women politicians have been either intimidated, at times attacked, even killed.
Sure.
For daring to vie for a political position. What do you think can be done to address this?
Well, that's why we are, if you follow the activities of 16 days activities against women last year,
yes,
we are condemning any forms of violence against women. And we will continue to drive towards that and make sure that no woman is intimidated or killed because she dares to contest election. Women are peacemakers. Women, we cannot use our children for thuggery. All through my political life, I condemn thuggery. I condemn using anybody's child.
I've not even seen a woman thug.
No woman does
women
that.
Involved in thuggery.
Women are mothers. They are peaceful and they can never go into such bad acts in order to win election. Women are not desperate as the men. And that is why you can see that they can be better leaders, better administrators, because they have the motherly heart in them.
Which takes us to, you mentioned something, violence against women. Let's also look at sexual violence against women. This conversation will not be complete without it, because a lot of women, even minors, which is disheartening, when you hear of a 2-year-old or even 3 months baby getting raped.
Yes.
Is the problem from the mothers? Is it a part of carelessness from the mothers, or from your findings?